Welcome back. We're continuing the discussion here on WION about political dynasties and what happens not just here in South Asia but around the globe. Let's now bring in our guest back into the conversation, Ms. Kalyani Shankar. Thank you so much for joining us. At this point, what I wanted to talk to you about was with regards to the loyal fan following that many leaders in India, especially celebrities, film stars, typically continue going from the world of entertainment, taking those fans into the political spectrum. But in this case, neither the friend or the the family member, Deepa, or Sasikala, the close confidant of Jayalaitha, seems to have that kind of a following. In fact, could this mean newer political parties could emerge with existing celebrities in the southern state?
Well, I am very doubtful about that because, I don't think that whether they will succeed at all because Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka and even to a certain extent Kerala, their people are film crazy. They worship their film stars. You might have noticed MGR came to power and then Annadurai was in films, Karunanidhi was in films, Vijaykanth, who is now floated a party, he was in films, and they are looking to Rajinikanth coming to politics. So they are looking to people who are film stars and they have their fan clubs. In fact, they had been able to convert their fan clubs into their voters. But in the case of Sasikala, she neither, for a leader, you need 2 or 3 qualities. At least one is a crowd puller. We don't know if she's a crowd puller. Second thing is converting that crowd into voting. I don't think whether she can do it or she cannot do it. We don't know. The third thing is sustaining. After becoming something to sustain it, whether she has that quality also, jury is still out. So we really do not know. And Deepa, of course, is really novice and she has not been, at least Sasikala had seen what politics is and sitting in the same house as Jayalaitha. Deepa has not done it, but Deepa has got some backers from outside. That's what I hear. Otherwise, she wouldn't have come forward. So as you rightly say, that without the film thing, it's very difficult to click in the southern India, particularly. Not that all film stars are becoming politicians. There are some who have failed. Even Vijaykanth, to a certain extent, had failed, although he got 10% vote when he launched the party. But after that, he's failed. There are other people who have failed also. But in the case of Jayalaitha, I told you these 3 qualities she doesn't have. She has no other experience also. But she has more than anything else. I had been to Chennai just 2 months ago, at the time of cyclone. People on the road, they don't like her. They think she's a scheming woman. They think that, there is some mystery about Jayalalitha's death also. They expect even the justice from the High Court, Vaidyanathan, he also said something about that. Whether she's involved or not, we don't know. But she has to change her image, first of all. The image makeover is what she must do immediately. Otherwise, she will have to win the hearts of the people of Tamil Nadu.
Right.
Jayalalitha won the hearts, but she has not been, I don't know whether she'll be able to do that. So these are the problems. She has many, many challenges. Not only that, facing the opposition in the assembly. She has never gone to the assembly. Even a person like Jayalalitha was finding it very difficult to deal with the people in DMK and other parties.
Right.
So,
Right. Kalyani, I have a question for you. We have been discussing this all day, and people say that, have pointed out that Jayalalitha was a very educated lady. She spoke very well, although she didn't go to college. And she had, and that is one of the things that M.G. Ramachandran, her mentor, found, the most interesting about Ms. Jayalalitha. Now, the contrast that is being made is that Sasikala came from a more modest background, and she was a video shopkeeper and a video shop owner and certain things like that. So would you say that there is an element, a strong element of casteism and classism when people point out the differences between the blood relatives of Ms. Jayalalitha like Ms. Deepa and Ms. Sasikala?
Well, you see, Sasikala can't even converse in English. I don't know whether you noticed that she was, inaugurating the India Today Southern Conclave.
Yes, but Kalyani, how important is it? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but how important is it to be able to converse in English for the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu in a state that prides itself on its undoubtedly beautiful language?
Well, it is very important to know as many languages as possible. And people who did not know, a man like NTR, who was like God to people of Andhra Pradesh, he started learning Hindi because he was planning to move to North India also and to start is what we call Bharata Desam. So it's very important for any leader to learn as many languages because communication is most important for a leader. And wherever he goes, if he speaks in that language, and it is very good. You might have noticed that all these top leaders, prime ministers, when they visit Gujarat or when they visit to some other state, they try to learn at least one thing to say, hello, how are you kind of thing. So this language is very important, and at least you should try and learn English, and if not any other language. So it's very, very important, I mean, otherwise, of course, if you go look at it, Russia, German, or other people, they need an interpreter. And even Prime Minister Modi, when he meets the leaders of the other countries, he speaks in Hindi and it is the interpreter is there. It's not a must, but then it always is an advantage. As far as Jayalaitha is concerned, she knew Telugu, she knew Malayalam, she knew Tamil, she knew Hindi.
Right.
She was very good in all these languages.
All right. Thank you so much, Kalyani Shankar. We appreciate your perspective and giving us thoughts with regards to this very interesting topic. Of course, over the next 60 minutes, we're going to still continue this and get ground reports from Chennai with Ramesh Ramachandran and Nishchita Virendra, as well as our international correspondents, Mandy Clark and Taha Siddiqui, plus a whole lineup of guests. Stay with us right here on WION. Time for a quick short break. Welcome back to World is One News. This is WION and I'm Archit Seshadri. We're going to continue the conversation this last 30 minutes to get your perspective on what is happening in the state of Tamil Nadu when it comes to politics. This 30 minutes, we're going to be joined by Mr. R.K. Radhakrishnan from Chennai. He is the associate editor of Frontline. Thank you so much for your input. As well as Taha Siddiqui, our chief correspondent from Islamabad. We'll get to both of you in just a moment. But first, with Mr. Radhakrishnan, my question to you is, in terms of the media coverage with all of this is happening, how has it been in Tamil Nadu, both the pros and the cons? Has it been good coverage? What has it been like? Give us a sense of how the local media has covered this in your state.
The day dawned with the local media being all of them.
All right, we're having some technical issues there. We're going to get back to Mr. Radhakrishnan in just a moment. Let's now go over to Taha Siddiqui and see what he has to say. Taha, thanks again for joining us. Over the last 90 minutes, we've been talking to our panel of guests as well as correspondents around the world on political dynasties and how this comes into play. Why don't we go to you and give us that sense of, in Pakistan specifically, how has that been? Does that work well? Are there limitations? Give us that sense of what it's like for dynasties to continue with political and family connections.
Well, the two mainstream parties in Pakistan are the People's Party and PMLN Nawaz-led group. And both of them are quite a lot into this sort of dynastic politics, as you're saying. And they do receive a lot of criticism because of this. As we know, with Benazir Bhutto and now the Bilawal Bhutto, the son, and then their grandfather, who was Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, who started politics in the 70s, then 80s, we saw Benazir Bhutto in 90s also. Then in mid-2000, 2007, she was assassinated. And then the children took over, and this time around from the father's side. So even to the extent that Zardari had to change Bilawal's name to not just Bilawal Zardari, but Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, to continue that legacy of the Bhutto name. Similarly, with PMLN, with Nawaz Sharif, we've seen that Nawaz Sharif himself is the prime minister, his brother is the chief minister, his nephews and his own children are also part of politics. And right now, as we know from what we hear about the party, now they're grooming Nawaz Sharif's daughter, Maryam Nawaz, to be the successor to Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. So in that sense, we do see that a lot happening in Pakistan, and these are the big political parties in the country.
Right. We have our guest, Mr. R.K. Radhakrishnan, who is the associate editor of Frontline, back with us. Mr. Radhakrishnan, you were telling us about what the mood is like on the ground in your state. Could you carry on, please, which is when we got cut off?
Yeah, sorry. So most of the day, half of the day, the entire media was going gaga about this Jallikattu contest that is happening in one suburb of Madurai. But then as news came in that Sasikala was possibly going to the party headquarters on Lloyd's Road to attend a party meeting, I think the focus started shifting slowly but steadily. Even when the meeting had started, there was apparently no inkling among Tamil television channels that she might possibly be elected as the parliamentary party leader in the assembly. So only at around 3 o'clock, when the AIADMK's official handle, Twitter handle, AIADMK official, announced that Sasikala is being elected as leader unanimously, did everybody break into this particular news, and you forgot the Jallikattu completely. Madurai was forgotten, and then all hell broke loose here.
Right, Mr. Radhakrishnan. Just another question about the shortcomings of the media, and to what extent is the media, all of us, responsible for creating a particular situation or for interpreting a particular situation to our viewers and readers. I mean, I refer specifically to all the talk there has been of the classist. It's almost classist and casteist. The difference between Ms. Sasikala and Ms. Deepa, who is the blood relative of the former chief minister. So is there a large dose of casteism and classism to that debate?
There is some amount of caste in anything that you talk across India. That's the nature of India. It can't be helped. It's there in the media. It's there in politics. Most certainly, yes. And it's there with the people. But beyond that, there are a lot of administrative issues for the media when it comes to Tamil Nadu. This is not confined to the fact that Tamil Nadu government is trigger happy, in the sense that they keep filing defamation cases against all media at all times, even for the slightest of provocations. I can give you a small example, like, during the Jayalaitha tenure, I had written that a corporation commissioner had gone and met her in Hyderabad where she was holidaying to get certain permissions, and that was the reason for one defamation case against me. It can be as simple as that. And the other problem with the television media itself is that there is something called an Arasu Cable Corporation, which is the big MSO in Tamil Nadu. It is the operator which actually makes available your cable feed in rural areas. And ratings, TRPs are decided by, there is an undue weightage for rural areas these days. So all the Tamil channels follow, including all the English channels too, they play ball as much as possible with the government. And to that extent, their independence is hampered when it comes to reporting government news. But yes, there is a caste angle in every newsrooms. You can barely see a Dalit across newsrooms. This can be print, this can be new media, this can be television. It's the same case across the board. Yes. There is also the Vidudalai Chiruthaival Katchi, which is a Dalit party. It runs a channel, but it doesn't have a big impact. Yes, there are a few Muslim parties who also run their own television channels. Again, very marginal impact in daily life or in the state of Tamil Nadu.
All right, Mr. Radhakrishnan, let me pick up the conversation, get you some thoughts and perspective on Jayalaitha's estate, Poes Garden. What exactly is going to happen to that? What will happen to, who will get that, if anybody? Do we have any kind of idea? We see, we see both Sasikala and Deepa now coming into the equation, but what exactly happens to Jayalaitha's future assets now that it's been more than 2 months since she died?
As long as Sasikala and the AIADMK can hold on to power in the state of Tamil Nadu, I don't think you'll have any great, change in the people residing in Poes Garden. But it's very, very clear that the Poes Garden residents, if you're taking the blood relatives from an Indian Hindu succession point of view, it has to go to the brother who is alive, Jayalaitha's brother who is alive, and to the niece who has taken claim to that property. Now, it is these two people who will finally have a claim to the property. But right now, Sasikala lives in that place, and though it is in Jayalaitha's name, because Sasikala was brought in 1988, and though she has been thrown out at least thrice, but then the point is she has been a resident of that property from 1988. That gives her some kind of a advantage, even legally speaking, to stay in that property. But I don't think she's at liberty to sell it off. The legal heir is definitely the brother and the niece, who are the brother is not laying any claim to it, but the niece is.
Mr. Radhakrishnan, also wanted to get your thoughts and perspective about, the chatter on the streets there in Tamil Nadu, in Chennai. There's been a lot of speculation about was this sort of a very convenient plan? Was this all planned? There's been back and forth rumors about whether, why didn't we see any pictures of Jayalaitha when she was in the hospital? Was this all part of a plan that Sasikala did? And now Deepa sort of coming in, her niece from the woodworks. And how has that been, someone like you who's a journalist covering that, dealing with some of the controversies and conspiracy theories that have emerged since the late Chief Minister's death?
Yeah, there are conspiracy theories as there are people. I mean, you can have, about 7.5 crore conspiracy theories floating in Tamil Nadu. But obviously, none of them are true. And there is a version from the Apollo hospitals. So on the treatment per se, there has been a lot of, controversies. And a lot of people, including actresses and politicians, have asked for what exactly happened to Jayalaitha on those 75 days. And the government is unwilling to give, put out that information. But on the streets, you can see that on Twitter, for instance, you can see that AIADMK fails is trending. Not my CM is trending. There is a lot of heartburn among ordinary people in Tamil Nadu that Sasikala is taking over. Their reasoning happens to be that she was only in the household of Jayalaitha. She was looking after Jayalaitha. Yes, for all reasons, there is no problem with that. But then, how can such a person take over the party and then the government? I think even when she took over the party, there was a sentiment across Tamil Nadu which basically said that, just because you're the household, you cannot be running a party. But of course,
right.
To be that though Sasikala has been taking some decisions for the AIADMK, even when Jayalaitha was around, it is not running the party at all, and that has not been communicated to the people at any level.
Right. A very last question to Mr. Radhakrishnan. Mr. Radhakrishnan, there is also, on the one hand, you have Deepa, who is the niece of Ms. Jayalaitha. On the other hand, you have Ms. Sasikala. And today, we heard Ms. Deepa suggest that, sort of hint at the fact that her birthday is coming up and we can expect a special announcement around that date. What do you expect? Do you expect the setting up of perhaps a new political party, or do you see a rift, in a split of the AIADMK into, let's say, the AIADMK D as in Deepa and S as in Sasikala?
See, right now, I don't think there is any danger of the AIADMK splitting, but I believe that the AIADMK leadership, the entire political class in Tamil Nadu is completely disconnected from the people of Tamil Nadu. We have seen that with the Jallikattu agitation. It was completely and purely organized on social media. You had more than 1.5 crore people turn up on the streets of Tamil Nadu. Now, that's the kind of disconnect, again, we see in the social media, the kind of messages that is coming across platforms. Now, this is actually a time very ripe for somebody like Deepa, who is completely uninvolved in the whole system of AIADMK governance and the government, to jump in and try her luck. By all means, yes. And it also gets complicated by the fact that Pannerselvam, writing a resignation letter to the governor, says, for personal reasons, I am resigning this post. That is absolutely a giveaway, because, everything that happened during the day seems to suggest that Pannerselvam wanted desperately Sasikala to be a chief minister. The second thing he has done, he has written to the Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, thanking him for his cooperation during the time that, Pannerselvam was chief minister. Now, this is unprecedented. No chief minister has ever written to a prime minister thanking him for the help during a tenure. So all these are ominous signs. Yes, Deepa is going to get some traction, but she doesn't have the party with her. She doesn't have the kind of strength that requires to win an election. So we'll have to wait and watch. But Deepa is going to be a problem for the AIADMK, though not in a big way, definitely a small pinpricks here and there. Yeah.
So Deepa is going to be a problem, or rather Deepa is going to be in some way featuring on the political horizon of Tamil Nadu. Mr. Ramachandran, thank you very much for joining us this evening. We still have on the line Pakistan Bureau Chief Taha Siddiqui. Taha, earlier we were talking about dynastic politics in South Asia. It seems to be a peculiar phenomenon that is, that is somehow more prevalent in South Asian countries than in most parts of the world. And you were mentioning, you spoke of the Bhuttos and you spoke of the Sharifs, Nawaz Sharif and his brother Shahbaz Sharif. Now, I just wanted to ask you, is one of the positive developments to come out of such dynastic politics the emergence of women in politics? It has been in Sri Lanka's case and it has been in India's case. Would you say that that is one of the reasons why Benazir Bhutto was such a prominent figure?
Well, Benazir was known to be the first prime minister of the Muslim world who was a woman. So in that sense, Benazir, for women empowerment, that could send a message. But at the same time, from what I know from the Times of that, people who have reported on Benazir, the senior journalists around here, they talk of the fact that in the 90s, she used to say that she has to wade through politics as a man. So in that sense, we haven't seen. And then again, we know about how legislations have been in Pakistan when it comes to religious legislations and how they discriminate towards women. But in the recent times, we've seen People's Party actually, because of its women leadership and other leaders in the party which are women, because of that, a lot of women legislations have been brought forward. So whether or not positivity can come out of this dynastic politics is sort of debatable, also because of the fact that we have a military which is quite active in politics here and continues to intervene. And one of the reasons that they talk about is the fact that these parties talk about democracy, they talk about parliamentary supremacy, but at the same time, it's their families which are ruling. It's the brothers, the sisters, the cousins, the nephews. And we've seen in the recent, for example, in the last decade, with the Sharif, for example, that not just their immediate family, but extended families in the military, in the police. So that criticism comes, and because of the fact that Pakistan's democracy is quite fragile, because of all the interventions we've seen from the military, this becomes a problem, this dynastic politics.
All right, Taha Siddiqui, thank you so much for your perspective from Islamabad. Let's now continue our discussion as we sort of bring all of this to a close and give you some perspective of what happened on the ground. Let's go to Ramesh Ramachandran. He got an exclusive interview with Jayalaitha's niece, Deepa Jaykumar.
Okay, I'm now joined by Ms. Deepa Jaykumar, the niece of the late Tamil Nadu Chief Minister J. Jayalalitha. Let me go straight across to her to know more about her thoughts on her political future. Ms. Jaykumar, thank you for speaking to WION. Clearly, there seems to be a battle royale taking place in Chennai this evening between you, as Deepa Ma, as your supporters call you, and Chinnamma, Ms. Sasikala Natarajan. So, where does this battle go from here?
I wouldn't call it a battle. This is a cry against something that shouldn't be happening actually, because the people had the faith and trust in Madam Jayalalitha and not on anyone else. That is what is happening here. The people have not voted her in. That is my first and foremost, whatever you call it. That's what I'm trying to be, emphasizing on. The people have not voted her in, and the people's trust, it was on Madam Jayalalitha. It wasn't on anyone else. And the third thing is that anyone to become a legislative leader, they should be a democratically elected candidate first and foremost. And in this case, it does not apply. I don't see why I shouldn't be in that role in the first place. If people want to see me in that role, I don't think there's anything wrong in it. But apart from all this, if at all I were to take up any position, it will be based on what the people want, and I would like to be elected as a democratically elected leader first, and then talk about this. Taking a political plunge is not the right thing to say, because in that sense I already have, I think. So the rest of the things that you said, as per my plan, a course of action that I had in mind, I'll follow that rigidly.
Thank you on that note. Thank you so much for speaking to WION. So there you have it, Ms. Jaykumar sharing her thoughts on her political future and making no bones about the fact that between now and the 24th of February, you can expect her to make a political announcement of some sort, possibly launching her own independent political outfit. In Chennai, Ramesh Ramachandran for WION.
Well, let's take a look at how all of this unfolded in Tamil Nadu. Quite a hectic few months there after the former Chief Minister Jayalaitha died back in December. Let's give you the perspective of what happened, how all of this unfolded. We'll first start back in September. That's when Jayalaitha was admitted to the hospital. She then died 2 months later after a lot of back and forth in early December. Then Pannerselvam was elected as the state's chief minister a few days after that. Sasikala Natarajan was elected as the General Secretary of the party towards the end of last year. And then today, February the 5th, that's when Pannerselvam resigned from his post, which made room for Sasikala to be elected as the new AIADMK Chief Minister. She'll soon be sworn in by the end of this week. So that's sort of the timeline of how all of this unfolded. Let's now listen into our other correspondent, Nishchita Verandra. She spoke to many people in Chennai, in Marina Beach. That's where Jayalaitha was put to rest. Let's listen in.
Not selected by people. She is selected by only parliament members only. So we are not happy.
Our leader only Jayalaitha. We are not. We are AIADMK supporter, but not support with Sasikala.
Sasikala is a common man, but not only leader. Ayala accepted, not accepted in Sasikala.
No, we are not supporting Sasikala. We support Jayalaitha.
We are supporting Amma Jayalaitha. We hate Sasikala.
And so as you can see, a lot of back and forth between who everybody there in Tamil Nadu was supporting. Is it Sasikala? Is it Deepa? Or could a new party emerge there in the coming days? Deepa has hinted that she will make an announcement in the coming weeks. Nishchita also spoke to Apsara Reddy, who is a leader with the party. Let's listen into that interview.
The argument being put forth that she has absolutely no administrative experience, she's never held office, she has never contested in elections, she's never had an AIADMK post as well. What do you have to say about that?
I think 33 long years of mentoring from Purachitalevi Amma is, I think, outweighs every sort of administrative experience you can gain, because she's lived with Amma, she's observed government, she's been to multiple meetings, she's been part of leadership conclaves, and I think Chinnamma is very well equipped to take the state forward because she has good intention, she has the knowledge, and she has the spirit to take the state forward.
Okay, also, several political analysts have gone on record to predict that this will completely decimate AIADMK in 4 years, and during the next elections, the AIADMK will not be able to recover from that. Your response to that?
A lot of political analysts said we won't come to power also in 2016, but we did storm back to power.
All right, and that is our extensive coverage of what is happening in Tamil Nadu. Let's now go back to our senior editor, Padma Rao. You've been seeing all of this unfold today as it's happened, Padma. You know, it's quite a spectacular day that's in Tamil Nadu. We just have to wait and watch to see what exactly happens in the coming weeks, right?
Yes, I think Tamil Nadu has seen a series of events over the last weeks, and we have been covering Tamil Nadu a lot. The viewers in Tamil Nadu happen to be very important to us, and we do hope that they continue to stay tuned to WION. And coming back to your question, I think I'm actually quite surprised and pleasantly surprised that we've not had. It's all been relatively calm.
There's not that chaos and confusion that you typically see when something like this happens.
Absolutely, yes. And I think it is to the credit of the people of Tamil Nadu that, yes, there is dissatisfaction on both sides, but where isn't there dissatisfaction?
Absolutely.
We are, after all, in a democracy.
Right, and as we mentioned, Sasikala, a very powerful post. She controls the entire party. The organization rests with her. She's, again, the ultimate authority when it comes to policies and programs. We also noticed that she controls the party's funds, and she also has the final word when it comes to suspending members if they are found violating some of the discipline. And Padma, very interestingly, when I was in Chennai earlier, we saw her, she was at the hospital, she was there at Poes Garden, so she played a very strong role, the friend, and then now we have Deepa coming out of the woodworks, and she's going to make that announcement. Do we expect, other political parties to form? I was reading even Rajnikant maybe hinting. Quite an uncertain, paradigm there.
Well, as they say, I think in politics anywhere in the world, especially in India and South Asia, and we've seen that all evening during our discussion and debate, blood runs thicker than water.
Right.
So ultimately, the whole question of dynasty, if it's a question of deciding between blood and between friendship, then I think we're going to see very interesting times ahead in Tamil Nadu.
All right. Thank you so much for your perspective. Of course, Padma Rao there and Archita Chaudhary giving you guys all the perspective. We really appreciate your time. All of this will be on our website, of course, wionews.com. Thank you so much for staying tuned for this special bulletin. Have a great night.